Hello, collective. I am here to do the Hierophant reading, and I'm in between spaces right now. So, some of you may know I'm renovating my house to sell and hit the road. And so, yeah, the windows are shut. I don't have natural light right now. I hope the sound is okay. I've got this little desk fan blasting on me because it's a billion degrees. I'm feeling moody right now. So, in this Cancerian season, maybe you have a Cancer moon. Any Cancer mooners out there? Or you could have Cancer in your top 3, but I feel like you're with this Cancerian, which is ruled by the moon. Your heart, your moon sign is struggling. That's the struggle right now on this journey is just emotional hardship and feeling the resurfacing of the past, right? And dealing with confusion or lack of clarity. So that's what we deal with in the moon energy. As the Hierophant, now the Hierophant is the teacher, right? They're the divine teacher. But they are also the student, right? They're one and the same. They're the student of the divine. They're the mediator and the medium, the translator between the 5D and the 3D, between the spirit and the ego. And so this takes a lot of mental clarity. So you could be in a lot of swords energy. If you're dealing with this energy at this time, if you're going through a Hierophant, or if you are a Taurus, dealing with a Taurus, right? Or if you are an earth sign, you're dealing with that earth energy. Or if you're a fixed sign, you're dealing with that fixed energy of the fixed earth aspects of Taurus and the Hierophant, which can be a struggle because it's fixed earth, right? Which is earth. That's double feminine. There's a lot of feminine energy. The moon is feminine energy. And I felt like Busta Rhymes there for a second trying to get all that out. In the moon. I won't be able to do it again, of course. Or Twista. Was he in the Guinness Book of World Records? Twista was in the Guinness Book of World Records for being able to say the most words in a minute, or words per second, or whatever. So yeah, maybe you're listening to, maybe you come from that time and you listen to that. There's a lot of nostalgia that comes up during the moon cycles. All right, we're also in Saturn retrograde. All right, we're dealing with devil energy. We're dealing with Capricorn energy. And so what that is that's all about attachment. That's all about attachment to the 3D. So when you're trying to mediate between the 5D and the 3D, and you're dealing with attachments, you're dealing with lack of clarity, you're trying to move forward, but you have to release things from the past. And sometimes that's a bit aggressive, that you have to be a bit aggressive and really protective over your sacred space to, I don't want to say annihilate, but that's the word I'm getting, the term I'm getting is you have to almost be ruthless and cut throats. There's some Queen of Swords energy here, which Taurus is also the Empress, which is shared by Libra. And I recently had a black bird, a crow that has a broken wing that was hobbling through my garden. And I have 4 dogs, and there was a storm coming, so I put it in my greenhouse to kind of heal. But it is at the screens, it is feisty, it does not want to be here, but it's almost like, so you could be in a place, which the crow and the raven are the Native American zodiac for Libra, so you could be dealing with your own inner balance between those two, dealing with that feminine energy, and Libra is the masculine aspect of the Empress, because it is cardinal, I was going to say wind, but cardinal air. And so it's, when you're dealing with a lot of moon energy, you're dealing with a lot of feminine energy, right? Especially in a divine union, if you are trying to attract and get on the frequency of a divine femininity so that you can attract your divine masculine, there's a lot of struggle there to get that balance, because you also have to run your life, right? if you are a single feminine, divine feminine, you have to still run your life. So you could be struggling with, maybe the 3D is pulling you into a place that the ego and the attachments, substances, external energies, past energies, right, could be really pulling you into a place and trying to get you into a place where you are hyper focused on your masculine energy, right? Active energy, like this is all about active in the pursuit. And if you're the divine feminine and you're in this energy too heavy for too long, it can turn into chasing, it can turn into desperation. So you could be dealing with individuals that you need to cut out, that are, if there's no confusion with the divine union. That rhymes. Buster rhymes. So there's no confusion with that, because that can be twin flame, it can be early twin flame, right? Or it could be karmic, right? All of that kind of rests in a lower vibration where there's confusion, lack of clarity. Once the two divine, the two divine, when you try to find a word and another word is just blocking it, and aspect is like the word of the day for some reason. Aspect ratio, so there's something with maybe like film, maybe you're a photographer, maybe you're doing something with filming, where you're doing the aspect ratio, or maybe that's like digital creators have to use that as well, like the pixelation. I don't know, I'm not a digital creator really. I guess I am, but not in a techie sort of way. I would still use Windows Media Player if it was compatible with anything anymore. But anywho, if you are dealing with any confusion, the two polarities, you could be dealing with a polar sign as well, right? Which Cancer and Capricorn are polar signs. They're polarities to each other. And so we're in this very Capricorn energy, this very fiery earth energy, right? The cardinal aspect of Earth, and then we're in the cardinal aspect of the moon, right? So we've got this like fiery energy that's trying to rush our feminine energies, that is trying to rush our feminine elements, right? So you could be earth, water, fire, right? But these are the energies that you're dealing with at this time, which are very combative, and they're conflicting and contradictory. So if you are dealing with a polarity sign, there is a lot of that. You could have a polarity sign within your chart that's conflicting at this time. Maybe check your moon sign, check your Saturn. So there's something that's conflicting there. And I'm not completely proficient on astrology. I'm just an energy reader, and not just an energy, but I read energy and then patterns, and then I feel the energy, and then when I look into astrology of the time, it just all makes sense for what's going on in my personal path and in the paths of those that I see around me. Okay, so those could be the struggles. It's like the channel messages, but yeah, with the Blackbird, with that Libra energy, with that cardinal energy, there's something about and then Aries is the Fool and the Emperor, right? So if you're trying to take a leap of faith toward an Emperor, or if you are an Emperor trying to take a leap of faith towards your Empress, know that this is what the feminine is struggling with, the feminine struggle that's going on. And the masculine must pursue. Masculine pursues, feminine allows and receives, okay? And so with that sort of bird in my greenhouse that is very much in my earth space, in this very like sacred space that I've created, it's trying to get out, and it's like it wants to get out, but I know there are cats, there are dogs, not just mine, but out in the neighborhood, it's not going to do well. And I know that it's like this struggle between nurturing yourself nurturing your feminine energy, because your masculine energy is like trying to get ahead of itself, and it just wants to go, go, go instead of stay, 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 which is what I feel you need to do at this time if you're struggling with this energy, is to just be in the moment and to let yourself heal. Let yourself just become content, because if you're chasing anything out of necessity or need, that like perceived need, then you're pursuing out of lack. You're attracting lack, and that's what you're going to be attracting. So you could be dealing with someone over here with the Hierophant. We have the Seven of Swords. There's that swords energy. The light in here is very strange. I mean, it's not bad, but I hope that you guys can still see these. And then the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is here for a good time, not for a long time. This individual is, then there's the Seven of Swords, which is blocking it, right? But there's a decision here to block it. Five of Swords is blocked. It's also lack energy. So if you're attracting that, get it back into your mental energy, right? The mind is the mediator. It's the Hierophant between the spirit and the ego, right? Between the head and the heart, the spirit and the heart, right? The 5D and the 3D, right? So the proverbial heart and the literal heart, right? You could be dealing with some heart palpitations. Make sure that you're hydrating. These are pretty obvious things. And make sure that you're catering to your sleep cycle, getting on your circadian rhythm, and doing what you need to do to regulate that and purify it, right? Through temperance, through the steps, right? Get into temperance. But I feel like you're in a very ruthless place, a very Queen of Swords place. So people might think that you're being brash, or really cold, but if you're going to be in a masculine energy, then use it to protect your feminine energy. Okay, so that's what this Seven of Swords is. This is you making a decision. It's a tough decision. Not everybody can make it. That's why you're here. You're on the divine path. You're a cycle breaker, right? If everybody could do it, we wouldn't need divination. I think everybody can do it. It's just whether or not they will. And then over here there's that Moon and the Lovers. So yeah, you're longing for love, and the challenging thing between, I don't know if you guys ever watch Dr. Ramani. She talks about narcissists and narcissistic personality disorder, recovering from narcissistic abuse, or coexisting if your choice is to stay. But she also talks about, like, she's been doing this for years. She's a professional. She's had, numerous thousands of clients, and has experienced this herself. And even though she has intellectualized it to the point that she is ahead of the game, she still gets caught up. She still talks about when she it still gets kind of had and bamboozled by narcissists. It's not as severe as before, but she still goes through that. And you could be, I think everyone here, it's safe to say, has or is dealing with, has dealt with or is dealing with a narcissist, primarily from your childhood, and then you've just repeated that, you've attracted that cycle because that's what you knew. In your lovers and work relationships, right? They're just kind of everywhere. And for empaths, cycle breakers, that's just the way that it is. We're like bread and butter to them. So you can still be had, and not just with narcissists, right? Because that's kind of a hot term, but I don't know, let it be hot. It's kind of like the cycle that we're all working to break is the narcissist uprising. So we have to be the narcissist. And so the challenge with the Hierophant is that you're the student and the teacher, and if your ego is in the way, if you have attachments in the way, if you're not staying vigilant and ruthless, then you can, and even then you still may interact with these individuals. It's just about getting ahead of that cycle and breaking it. Like, the cycle will try to repeat itself. That's how the cycle works. And so breaking it isn't just a clean break. It's not just one fell swoop and you're done forever. It's like a hacking away, a chiseling away, and that takes a long time, right? You're undoing not just your, decades of dealing with this cycle, but you're also, chiseling away at ancestral karma. So everyone before you, since, the dawn of man, you're dealing with those cycles, right? Since the proverbial snake in the Garden of Eden situation, right? Original sin or whatever. And that's just metaphorically speaking, however you interpret that. But since the first moment where we really made the decision to get off the garden path, to get off the divine path, we came from that person. We all came from that energy. So we all have to break that cycle, and there's a lot of cycles within that cycle that we're breaking. And so there's an understanding and a grace that needs to be allowed with this process of, yes, you're the teacher, but you're also always the student. So you're always learning. And so if you let your ego get in the way and say, oh, I should know this by now, I should be proficient at this, I should be 100%, I should be perfect, whatever. If you're in that, maybe you're a Virgo, if you're in that mutable energy of, I have to wait until it's right, I'm not there yet, you're never going to be there. There is no there, right? It's just the pursuit of it, right? The process, the path is not about the destination, right? And that's very cliche, but in this context, it feels like if you're in school and you're always learning, and if you're a doctor, right? If you're a lawyer, you learn through each patient. As the teacher, as the guide, as the guru, as the expert, right? As the expert, you can be an expert and still learn, and you still will learn with every patient that you treat, with every case that you take on, with every relationship, because in the divine union dynamic, then, with every relationship, you might be like, why am I still fucking attracting this cycle? I thought I was better than this. I thought I was the Hierophant. I thought I had already gone through all of the major arcana, and I've been single. I've done the work. I haven't been putting my energy into others. I've Queen of Swords, everybody out, off with their heads. I've been, treating my body well. I've been, taking care of my space. I've been giving myself grace. I've been allowing myself to feel, right? Like, this goes on and on. There's so much work that goes into this, and you're like, I'm trying to have grace for how far I've come, but when I keep getting reminders of the past cycle, it makes me feel like I am not there yet, right? Like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing everything right. And that's why those old cycles are coming in, because they don't want you to be onto this game. They don't want you to break this cycle. The closer you get to God, the closer you get to chiseling your way through that cord to the past. With each saw, with each motion, it's like, it's like the committee of demons. And they're like, how do we get... They're almost there. Like, they're getting ahead of us. We're gonna lose our career here. We're all gonna be out of jobs if we don't get ahead of this person. So you're constantly in this spiritual warfare. You're constantly in this push-pull, and just know that it's not easier. Even if you're an expert, right? You have to still be a student and learn from each one. Learn from each cycle, because there's still some residual information there that you need to take on. That thunder. Garth Brooks. The thunder and the lightning strikes. Another, love grows cold on a sleepless night. So yeah, with the moon, with all this feminine energy, your sleep could be really disrupted. And you could feel very cold, that desolation of smog. Maybe you're a Year of the Dragon. Maybe you're just binge watching Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So there's this, I've been waiting for my fortune, my wheel of fortune to turn in my favor. And so there's this struggle with the Hierophant of feeling like you should know better, but keeping yourself humble, right? If you think about the Hierophant, right, which is the high priest, right? It's a priest, it's a religious figure, it's a spiritual figure, it's the most wisdomous person in the village, the guru that everyone goes to. It's the hub for spiritual healing and guidance. If you think about any of the individuals who have allowed themselves to not stay humble, Kendrick Lamar, bitch, be humble, sit down, right? Whenever priests, leaders, bosses, lovers, parents, right? Anyone in power, whenever they are lacking humility, they become demonic, right? They become grotesque because they're only concerned about serving their ego. So you need to keep yourself humble here. That's the struggle, is remaining humble and realizing I'm just a student at this. Like, yeah, I have a lot of expertise and I know what I'm talking about. And you will get pushback on that, and you will feel like maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You do. You're on the right path. That's the point of it all. The closer you get to God, the closer the devil gets to you, right? So yeah, this union is going to be, it's a divine union. And you see that snake trying to get on the ankles, right? Like, if you're the divine masculine, like maybe it's, there's a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, right? Maybe you have paternal conflict or a masculine conflict where you are, you were told that you were less than, so you don't have the courage to really pursue this feminine. You don't have the confidence. Did I say that twice? Courage and confidence. Courage. The cowardly lion. Leo energy. Which, when you're dealing with the moon, where does the moon get its light from? The sun, Leo. But there is this sort of like, you have the courage is there, it's in the act, it's in the full energy as well. So when we're in this cardinal energy, right, we're surrounded by this cardinal modality of, Libra, the moon, Cancer, we're in Cancer season, and then we're in Capricorn, right? So these are our cardinal signs, and then Aries is where we want to get. We want to get to the Emperor. We want to get to the Fool. We want to get to that place where we take a leap of faith. And if you watched my video about why you should stay single for a year, if you're at the place where you don't have any relationships currently to take a leap of faith into, right? The one who takes the leap of faith into the 3D is the masculine. The one who has to take the leap of faith into the 5D is the feminine, right? And then when the divine union, it's a combination of the two. Oh, my nose is going crazy. So there is this cardinal energy that's like trying to keep you from coming into that union, coming into that Emperor and Empress union, by keeping you attached, by keeping you so in your swords and your air energy to where you're not able to ground yourself and keep yourself humble and keep yourself in that nurturing place. And it's like you're restless. You just want to go. And this is a reminder to tap back into the self. If you've been single for a long time, you might just, be thirsty, right? You don't want to be thirsty when you go into a connection. You want to be hungry, right? And that is Taurus energy. We know about hunger. So this is about feeding yourself, right? Feeding yourself, going back through the steps. It's always going to be about going back through the steps. If you're struggling in these major arcanas, that's a reminder to go back through the steps, right? Just like you would if you were a student, right? And you're about to graduate, you have a test coming up, you still have to go back through the steps. You have to take, go back through your notes, reread them. What did I retain from that, right? Because it can't all stay in here until we need it. We have so many tools at our disposal. We have so many elements, so many modalities, so many celestial bodies that are within us in our own solar system, and then we have so many around us that are influencing those. So there's so many tools at our disposal. It's like you don't know which tool to use until the time comes, and so you just keep dusting the tools, oiling them, making sure that they don't rust. You just want to keep them honed in, right? You want to keep that saw nice and sharp and free from rust so that you can keep on chiseling away, right? Your hacksaw, whatever you're using. And so that cardinal energy is a struggle. Drifted away. Drifted out of thought. There. Alright, well, let's look at the bottom here. And it'll come back to me. That fucking Knight of Wands again. Yeah, I think that you have, like, playboys, low vibrational people who are looking for casual connections, right? This is just, like, small dick energy. It's not useful. And there's that Eight of Cups. Yeah, she's like, nah, I don't want that. So if you're the feminine and you've got suitors coming in, right, and you're in that place of desperation or loneliness, or you're just like, that's your Saturn retrograde talking, that's your attachment, right? You're just, and if you've been single for a long time, I think that's what I was talking about before I veered off. Yeah, going through the steps, going through your notes, even a doctor, right? If you've ever worked with doctors, PAs, which I did, they still look at the book, right? They still have to go back to their sources of information, right? And what is the source? It's not like they just take all these tests, go through all these years of school, and then they retain everything. I mean, some people might, those with like, savant-like memory, but we're just talking about regular people. And we've got a lot of emotions going on here because we are empaths, so we're picking up the emotions of everyone else and all their stuff. So it's like, yeah, you just need to go back to source. You need to go back to source, and the Hierophant source is God. Source, the universe, right? Self, capital S, self. And find that fulfillment that you're seeking in others, right? That's what you need to learn. If you're still attracting these individuals, then, and it's challenging you in a way, because once you reach a point of kind of absolution, you're like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. You get on it quicker. You know what serves you, what's not going to serve you, what's interesting and what's not. So if you're still dealing with the challenge of it to the point that it's making you lose sleep, that it's making you moody, emotional, it's got you in a place of upheaval, then you are really in need of like referring back to your notes. Can you tell that I'm going through this energy myself? Page of Pentacles. Now the Page of Pentacles is a solid offer. You don't want this Knight of Wands. You don't want a Page of Wands. You don't want a Page of Cups. You don't want somebody who's coming in with some little baby cup. Usually that's an apology, right? That's past energy, rekindling. That's not the energy that you're working towards, that you have been working towards. It's not on even near the frequency of these lower vibrations. But just because you are on a higher frequency in your path doesn't mean that lower vibrations are not going to try and come in and knock you down. In fact, like I said, they're going to be the most aggressive the closer that you get. But once you get to that place, they'll still try to attack you. It just won't phase you as much. It's just going to be more comical, like, oh, here they are again. I see you, you know. It's like raccoons getting in your trash. you know, some people get really, really frustrated about that. It's like, build a box with a lock on top. Like, you can learn to outsmart your enemy, right? Your opponent. I'll say your opponent, right? Because I don't think that there's like a clear enemy in spiritual warfare. It's more, everybody is a lesson, everybody is a teacher, and if you remain a student of those teachings, then you're constantly going to be learning and fortifying your mind, right? So that you don't have to do this. You don't have to make the hard decision to block people out that put you in a lack mentality, because you're so abundant and you're so absolute, right? It could be, you know, something about Russia or vodka. But the Page of Pentacles is a solid offer. This is the only page who offers something solid, because they've taken a long time to come in. You could be dealing with an earth sign, but this is earth energy, right? So you're dealing with this earth energy, you want to get into this earth energy. So whether you have Taurus in your chart, you are a Taurus, you're dealing with a Taurus, I mean, it doesn't matter. If that's what you're struggling with, the advice of the Hierophant is to get into Taurus-like energy, right? Ground yourself, really fix yourself into an earth place, right? Walk barefoot, plant some seeds, sit outside, let yourself charge. Your electromagnetic, so allow yourself to charge, and then bring that charge into your earth vessel here, your terrestrial vessel, and recharge you, right? You know, get some electrons from your dogs if you have dogs or animals around, right? Particularly dogs, because they are they're like little electron conduits, and that's why they'll just go lay in the sun, and even though they're panting and they look like they're gonna like have a heat stroke, and sometimes you have to call them back in so that they don't. Yeah, just get in there and let them charge you up. So this is a recharging, and so you can also get into the Empress energy, right? So get into that feminine aspect of nurturing yourself and waiting for the Emperor, right? Waiting for someone who is honorable, right? And that brings you something solid. That brings you something that doesn't put you into this dance under the moon, this attachments to the past, attachments to lack of clarity, attachments to butterflies, right? You don't want butterflies, right? I mean, you do in your garden, but you don't want them in your stomach. Ace of Cups, a new beginning in love, right? That's what's, I'm the Empress. So there it is. And the Six of Swords is underneath that. So that's bringing you out of the Seven of Swords. So get yourself out of that place. We got the Five of Pentacles. So for earth signs or anybody dealing with this earth energy, Five of Pentacles is like, that's the opponent. That's the lack mentality. And how do you get out of this? You bring an ending to something. You round that 5 up to a 10, right? Round it on up. And it's very simple math. When you round it up and you bring it to a 10, what does 10 actually equal? 1. A new beginning. That's Ace of Pentacles energy. King of Cups, King of Swords. So this is like pre-Emperor energy. So yeah, again, I keep getting this. The feminine is really struggling. But we have the Ten of Cups coming, right? So this person's slow and steady. They're not going to necessarily, they're not here to, in that cardinal energy, to win the race. They're here to last the marathon. So that's the individual that you want. That's the energy that you need to get yourself onto. And if you're the masculine, this is what the feminine is really going through. And so there's a need to understand that and buck up, buckaroo. But really just get on it like a bonnet. And know that if you feel any pushback from the feminine, if you feel any resistance, if they seem moody, if they seem, if you're dealing with someone who seems cold, right? Just know that underneath that is a big pile of goo with this Cancerian moon energy here. And they're just waiting for somebody who is going to come in. Correct. This is, we're missing the King of Pentacles and the King of Wands. But that's, we have this Knight of Wands energy here. So yeah, masculines, if you're out there just having casual relationships looking for an empress, that's not the way. So refer back to my why you need to be single for a year prior to union according to tarot. I think that's it for now. Bull gang and bull gang wannabes. Oh, just kidding. Am I though? I wish you well.